This is Bloomberg Technology. I'm Emily Chang at the E3 conference in Los Angeles, where the biggest names in gaming are showing off what they have in store. One company that annually makes a super smash at this event is Nintendo. However, the company's shares sank after unveiling few new titles for the Switch console. Almost all of the main content displayed during the show was either announced or leaked in the prior weeks and months, including Fortnite, Pokemon, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Wednesday's share drop pushed Nintendo to its lowest since September, wiping out all the market gains made after its strongest holiday season in 8 years. Joining us now, Nintendo of America President and COO Reggie Fils-Aime. That is quite an introduction.
It is.
Let's talk about the stock, because investors seem to believe there's no more surprises, nothing left this year. Would they be correct?
They wouldn't. You know, Nintendo as a company loves to surprise people. So what that means when we approach an event like E3 is we show content that's going to launch over the next 6 to 9 months, and no more. And so we always have more surprises. There's always more in store. And so why the analysts reacted the way they did, who knows? But we know from a company perspective, there's a lot more up our sleeves, and there's a lot more that we have to show over the weeks and months ahead.
Oh, but tell us the surprises.
Right here, right now. For us, we believe there's a lot more value for the consumer to tell them about content and then launch it, just like we did for Fortnite. And Fortnite already has 2 million downloads specifically on the Nintendo Switch.
Wow.
So for us, by surprising the fans and driving this type of excitement, we're able to move the business forward, and that's what most important to us.
So Super Smash Brothers, Fortnite, new Pokemon games, which one is going to move the needle the most for Nintendo this year?
You know, for us, the way we look at it is we have an opportunity in the here and now to continue driving momentum. Fortnite, the Octo expansion for Splatoon 2 that's launching tonight, Mario Party launching in October, Pokemon launching in November, right before Black Friday, and then Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in December. It's the pacing of news, the pacing of launches that's going to drive the business forward.
Let's talk about the online service. You do have that coming in September, which means it's cloud-based, and the network performance of the games that you've been trialing has been bad. I mean, some players have said that it's unplayable. Is that going to improve?
Absolutely. And again, we need to be clear. When we do a trial event, for example, with Mario Tennis Aces, we're as much learning about the technical infrastructure as well as the way the game is going to play. And so you have to expect some challenges when you do that. When we launch the game, it's going to perform, just like it did for Fortnite. Okay,
let's talk about the Switch. You have added some incentives to make it cheaper for people to buy a second one. Are there going to be more of those incentives?
So those incentives are specific to the Japanese market. And
so that's not coming to the US?
So it's not coming to the North American marketplace. And this reflects just the difference in culture and the difference in living situations that you have across the world. Japanese homes, small, typically one TV in the household. So for that market, offering an additional SKU that takes out HDMI cables and things of that nature makes sense. Here in the Americas, 3 TVs per household, big TVs. For us, selling a fully configured second Switch into the home is what we're focused on, and we're seeing that happen. And we especially expect to see that happen with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
There are some concerns, though, that the Switch can't sort of carry the torch for both the 3DS and the Wii. What are you doing to make it more attractive?
Well, but so again, let's focus in on the Americas and the US marketplace. In the month of December, our dedicated handheld business, 2DS, 3DS, grew by 27% year on year. So far this year, our 2DS, 3DS business is up 10% this year. So the Switch is not all on its own. It's getting some very strong support by a dedicated handheld business here in the Americas. And for us, we want to continue driving both of those platforms. The dedicated business for 2DS, 3DS is for kids and for families to get engaged for the first time, potentially, in video games. And then the Nintendo Switch is going to be that game where consumers want to play Smash Brothers and Zelda and all of these big, epic games. And that's what we're looking to do.
Speaking of epic games, Fortnite, Arena of Valor, Pokemon Quest. It's great that these games are a success. They are also free to play. How are they going to make money for Nintendo?
So the way they get monetized is the consumer buys either attire or season passes, things of that nature. And as long as those merchandise well, then there's a strong profit for us and for the developer themselves.
What's Nintendo's opinion on loot boxes and these pay-to-win tactics?
You know, loot boxes broadly speaking, have gotten a bit of a bad rap. The game mechanic of buying something that you're not quite sure what's inside is as old as baseball cards, as an example. And so what we believe, for example, at Nintendo, is that a gameplay mechanic that offers the consumer something to buy that they're not sure what's inside can be interesting, as long as that's not the only way that you could get those items. And I think that's where maybe some developers have made some mistakes. For us, it's one of many mechanics that we can use to drive ongoing engagement in the game.
So tell us about the new president and what might change for you.
So
Your new president.
So Mr. Furukawa, he's a veteran, 25 years with the company. What's great about him is he's had some fairly extensive experience outside of Japan. He was one of the first financial people that Nintendo of America was dealing with back in our early days. He spent 12 years in Europe, so he really has an understanding for the overseas subsidiary. He loves our content, plays our games. So from my perspective, he's a great choice to be our next global president.
You've told me that Nintendo will do esports in a uniquely Nintendo way. What does that mean? Could the Olympics be involved?
Interestingly, potentially the first time that esports will be an Olympic sport will be in the Tokyo Olympics in 2020. So that would be an interesting venue. But look, so when we talk about doing esports uniquely, for example, it's what we did here at E3. We held a global Splatoon 2 championship that was held here. We had an invitational for Super Smash Brothers. What we want to do is create the content that enables consumers to come together and these professional players to come together and play. We create consistent rules and a consistent structure, and then encourage the community to go from there. And so far, that's working for us. It's really building from the ground up these fantastic gaming communities that support our games.
And when it comes to making money, and especially from these free-to-play games, I know you're not going to tell me the exact revenue breakdown, but how would you describe the relationship with publishers? I mean, are you making more than half?
So the relationship with developers, because we're the platform holder. And so the relationship with the developers is, from my standpoint, it's a fair relationship. They've invested to create the game. We've invested to create the platform and the infrastructure. The revenue split, the profit split is a fair construct and enables companies like Epic to drive their profitability, enables companies like us to drive our profitability.
So what do you have to say to the investors who are skeptical in this moment?
So here's an interesting factoid. As you look at Nintendo over these many years, if you look at the number of analysts who've actually gotten it right, it's fairly small. And it's because we as a company, we hold things close to the vest. We love to surprise the overall community and environment. And when we surprise big. Just look at Switch, just look at some of the other games. And so what I say is, don't worry. We're driving the business forward. We're driving engagement on the platform. That's what's most important.